You ever have that gut feeling you can't explain? The kind that gnaws at you, even when everything looks fine on the surface? That was me. My name's Matt, 37, live in Idaho. Been married to Laura for 6 years, my second marriage, her third. We had our ups and downs, sure. But I thought we were good. I thought we were real. I work in custom carpentry. I build stuff with my hands. She's in education, counseling teens who've already seen more trauma than most adults. We don't have kids together, but she's got one, Max, from her last marriage. 15, quiet, but a good kid. A month ago, I went on a weekend camping trip with my boss and a few guys from work. Laura didn't come, said she had stuff to do around the house and wanted a quiet weekend alone. I didn't think twice about it, but when I got back that Sunday night, something was off. Laura hugged me, kissed me, smiled like always, but her eyes didn't land the same. They darted. She seemed distracted, distant. That whole week, she was glued to her phone like a teenager. She'd smile to herself, then hide it when I walked in. And she was short with me, like everything I said annoyed her. It was subtle, nothing concrete, but after being with someone long enough, you just know when something's different. The real punch to the gut came the following Thursday. I was tossing laundry into the washer when I noticed a familiar shirt in the hamper, one I hadn't worn in months. A deep red flannel. It had always been mine, but Laura wore it around the house sometimes. It smelled like cologne, not mine. I picked it up again, took another breath, and suddenly I remembered. Her last husband, Chris, used to wear this same scent. Some spicy sandalwood knockoff he thought made him seem cool. He wore it everywhere. He used to walk into a room like it was supposed to impress people. But all it did was hang in the air like a bad memory. I hadn't smelled that scent in 5 years. And now here it was, on my shirt. In my house. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I just stood there in the laundry room, staring at the spinning drum like it could somehow tell me the truth. My heart told me one thing. She had cheated. But my mind wasn't ready to believe it. And then, the final nail. Saturday morning, she left early, said she was going to a teacher's wellness retreat. I didn't even ask, just nodded and poured my coffee. But an hour later, I saw it. On the kitchen table, she'd left her iPad, unlocked. Now I'm not proud of what I did next, but if you've ever been in my shoes, you get it. I opened the Messages app. There weren't a ton of texts. Just one thread, deleted and restored, between her and a contact saved as L. But I knew the number. It was Chris, her last husband, the one she told me was narcissistic, manipulative, and emotionally abusive. The one she said she'd never speak to again. And yet, there they were. Messages from just 2 days ago. L. That shirt still fits you. I can still smell me on it. Laura. I know. I wore it to bed last night. Thought of you the whole time. L. He doesn't suspect anything? Laura. Not yet. He's too nice. He trusts me too much. I swear, my legs went cold. My body just froze. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely keep reading. L. You gonna tell him? Laura. Why would I? He's stable, safe. You're the storm I need in secret. I stared at that line for so long it burned into my vision. That was when the trust I'd built brick by brick, every kind word, every night spent holding her while she cried about her past, came crashing down. She wasn't cheating with some stranger. She was cheating with the man she swore she'd never forgive. The one she claimed destroyed her. And me? I was just the fool who helped her heal long enough to go back to him. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there in our bed, in the dark, listening to the soft hum of the ceiling fan and pretending like I didn't know. Laura came home late, kissed me on the forehead, climbed into bed, and whispered, I love you. And I whispered it back. But inside, I was screaming. That line from her message kept echoing in my head. He's stable. Safe. You're the storm I need in secret. Safe. I wasn't a husband. I was a life raft. A damn safety net while she dipped back into a past she claimed was toxic. I couldn't stop thinking about all the times she cried in my arms after the divorce from Chris. How she told me he cheated, lied, broke her down emotionally. She said she felt free with me. Said I was the first man who made her feel respected. Turns out, she didn't want respect. She wanted chaos. And I guess he still had a hold on her. I took a few days to think. No rash decisions. No shouting match. I needed to know how far this went. One thing about being betrayed. Once the dam cracks, every little suspicion you ever had starts flooding back in. The random nights she stayed late at her job. The old photos of him I found once in a shoebox she claimed she forgot to throw away. How she never wanted to delete his number because they shared custody of a dog they rehomed together years ago. Hell, I should have seen it coming. But I didn't. I was still pretending. Pretending this was salvageable. Pretending she might come clean if I just asked her. But I couldn't do that. Because if I asked and she lied to my face, I don't know what I would have done. And if she told the truth? I wasn't ready to hear it yet. So I made a plan. I took 2 days off work. Told Laura I was going to help a buddy with a renovation out in Spokane. She didn't ask any questions, just kissed me on the cheek and said, "Be safe." That's the thing about liars. They're always most affectionate right after they betray you. I drove 3 towns over to meet a guy named Brian, an old army buddy of mine who now does private surveillance work. Divorce pie stuff, hidden cameras, GPS trackers, phone cloning. Not exactly legal, but not illegal either if you know the loopholes. We sat in a dark bar, me nursing a whiskey, him flipping through a small tablet. "You sure you want to know, man?" he asked. "No," I said, "but I need to." So we did it. I bought a tracking tag, small enough to slip into the lining of her purse. Cloned her phone onto a decoy device using a wireless sync tool. Brian helped me load an app that would mirror her messages, her GPS location, and even her call logs. I was sick to my stomach the entire time. I felt like I was the one betraying her. That's the messed up part. Cheating doesn't just make you question your partner, it makes you question your own sanity. Makes you paranoid, makes you feel like you're the bad guy for digging, for not trusting, even when the truth is right in front of you. But I had to do it. I planted the tracker that night when she was in the shower. Slid the phone clone into my truck's glove box and drove around the block to test the signal. It worked. I sat in the cab in silence and waited. It didn't take long. The first message came in right before midnight. "Chris. Same hotel?" "Laura. Yeah. I told Matt I'm working late on a student report. I'll be there by 9 tomorrow. Missed you, Chris. Bring that black lingerie. The one you wore after the lake trip. I still dream about that night. Laura. You're bad. I love it." I dropped the phone. Just dropped it into the seat beside me like it was a dead bird. The lake trip. We took a weekend getaway 2 months ago. Just the two of us, middle of nowhere, rented a cabin. One night she got tipsy and wore that same lingerie to surprise me. That wasn't for me. That was a recycled moment from another man. From her ex-husband. The same man she told me used to scream at her, cheat on her, push her into therapy. The man she swore she would never go back to. And yet here she was, running back to him in secret like she was under some kind of spell. But I wasn't angry yet. Not fully. No, that part would come later. Right now, I was hurt. I sat there in the dark, staring out the windshield at the empty road. No music, no distractions, just that tight, sharp ache in my chest. She was gone, and the woman I thought I knew? She was never real to begin with. I didn't tell anyone, not my brother, not my best friend, not even my dad, who'd been through his own brutal divorce years ago. I figured the minute I said it out loud, my wife is cheating on me with her ex-husband, it had become real in a way I couldn't control. So I kept it inside. For now. And instead of falling apart, I started watching. She didn't change much. That was the crazy part. Same smile, same tired, long day. Sigh when she got home. Same chicken pasta she made every Tuesday night like clockwork. You'd never guess she was texting a man behind my back the second I left the room. And Chris? He wasn't just some rebound or a one-night slip. This was planned, routine, calculated. Every Thursday night, she had late case notes to file. Every third Saturday, she had a conference call in the evening. I started checking the phone logs. His number always popped up after 9 p.m., like some kind of secret bedtime routine. Once I saw her send him a selfie. Nothing explicit, just her lying in our bed, biting her lip, with my flannel blanket pulled up to her collarbone. That's when I realized she was getting bold. She didn't think I'd ever figure it out. Because to her, I was just Matt, the safe one. The good 1. The fool. I stopped sleeping. My mind raced every night. I'd look at her across the dinner table and see a stranger. I started to notice little things. How she never asked me how my day was. How she used to wait up for me after work, and now she was too tired. How she never wore that black lingerie anymore, not since that lake trip. The one I thought was ours. And I kept wondering why him? What did Chris have that I didn't? Was it the history? The danger? Or was I just boring? It was around then that I remembered something Chris used to do that always pissed her off. She told me this story when we first started dating, about how he used to go through her phone. No trust, she said. It made me feel like property. Funny, now I was doing the same thing, but with proof. And yet, I still felt like the villain. I'd sit in my truck after work, watching her location ping on my phone. Hotel parking lots. Once, even the hiking trail where I proposed to her. Yeah, they met there at night. Not for hiking. That moment nearly broke me. But then came Sunday. Laura had left to go visit her friend Claire for the day. One of her oldest friends, someone I'd met only once in person. I had my suspicions, so I checked her location. She wasn't at Claire's. She was 3 hours away. At Chris's house. And here's the kicker, it wasn't some secret place. It was the house she used to live in with him. I could see the street view from the tracker. Same red bricks. Same big oak tree in the front yard. She was back there, with him, like the past 6 years of our marriage never even happened. Like I was the mistake she was correcting. I sat there on our couch, just staring at the blinking dot on the screen. And that's when something shifted. No more pity, no more tears, just a quiet, simmering fire. This woman didn't just cheat on me. She rewound her whole life and erased me from it like I was some forgotten chapter. She lied to my face every single day, made love to me with hands that had already touched another man the night before. And then had the nerve to come home and look me in the eye. So yeah, that night, something broke. But not in a bad way. I wasn't going to blow up. I wasn't going to scream or cry or throw her stuff out on the lawn. I was going to play dumb. Let her keep thinking I was too naive to catch on. Let her believe she still had the upper hand. Because I had time. And I was about to make it count. Once I stopped reacting emotionally, I started thinking clearly. Almost disturbingly so. Laura had no idea I knew. That was my advantage. She still kissed me goodbye in the mornings. Still texted me heart emojis at lunch. Still laid next to me at night like everything was normal. That gave me time. And I used it. The first thing I did was stop sleeping in our bed. I told her I was having back pain and wanted to sleep on the guest room mattress for a bit. She believed it without hesitation, probably relieved she didn't have to pretend so hard while laying next to me. While she worked late that week, I used the spare time to dig deep. She kept an old fireproof box in the closet with documents from her previous marriages, divorce papers, joint accounts, alimony disputes, all of it. I took pictures of everything. I wanted to understand how she handled her exes before. Turns out, she wasn't new to this kind of betrayal. In her first marriage, she cleaned the guy out, took the car, half the savings, even the dog. Said he cheated. Maybe he did. In her second marriage, Chris's, the one she said was emotionally abusive, she signed a settlement that gave him the house in exchange for wiping out joint debt. Claimed she wanted a clean break. But now she was back there. Back in his house. Which told me something she hadn't. She never really let him go. This whole time, I was the rebound who stuck. The placeholder. The emotional support project she leaned on until she felt strong enough to crawl back to the man who broke her in the first place. That stung worse than the cheating. So I made a plan. I started documenting everything. Every text message from Chris. Every location ping. I took screenshots, saved timestamps, even printed some just in case. I set up a backup email and uploaded everything there, off the grid. Then, I bought a tiny voice recorder. Slipped it under the passenger seat of her car. If they were meeting up, maybe I'd catch some kind of conversation. A confirmation. Something spoken, not just typed. It felt wrong, like I was crossing a line. But then I'd think of her calling me safe in a message to the man who used to yell at her in the driveway. I'd think of her in that lingerie, using my bed, my name, my trust, and giving it all away like it meant nothing. That guilt? It went away. Now here's where the real shift happened. Wednesday afternoon, she came home giddy. Too giddy. The kind of happy where it doesn't match reality. She plopped her bag down, opened a bottle of wine without asking if I wanted some, and said, "Claire and I are planning a spa weekend next month. Girls only. Just letting you know." I kept my face calm. "Sounds nice. You deserve it," I told her, smiling. But I already knew the truth. There was no spa, no Claire. She and Chris were planning a trip. I'd seen the emails. She was going to tell me last minute and fly out to meet him on conference business, or whatever excuse she settled on. She was even planning to use our shared miles. I started transferring all our reward points out of our joint account that night. Opened my own travel account under a new email. Moved the balance. Every single point. Gone. Then I ordered a P.O. box. Quietly opened a new bank account under just my name and started shifting small bits of money into it every few days. Just enough to go unnoticed. This wasn't just revenge anymore. It was exit strategy. But I didn't want to leave quietly. No, I wanted her to feel it. I didn't want screaming or fights. I didn't want to throw her clothes out the window or post screenshots online. That would make her the victim again. I wanted silence. Cold, calculated exposure. I wanted her to stand in the ashes of the life she thought she had control over, and realize she burned it down with her own hands. So I waited, watched, prepared, and every time she sent him a new message, thinking she was being clever, I just smiled. Because I already had the matchbox in my hand. Friday night, 11:07 p.m. She was asleep in our bed, or pretending to be. I was in the guest room, sitting on the edge of the mattress, staring at my phone, watching her location blink on the screen. It had shown, home, for the last 4 hours. But her text messages told a different story. Chris. Counting down the days. Laura. Me too. I already moved the miles. Booked the hotel. Told Matt it's a mental health workshop in Denver. Denver. The same city where I proposed to her on the bridge over the South Platte River. They were going there now. To our place. If you've never felt your stomach knot like it's trying to tie itself into a noose, you've never been betrayed by someone you trusted with your soul. But I didn't break. I just tapped the folder in my phone labeled insurance. Inside were screenshots of every message, GPS logs, call records, and a few short audio clips Brian pulled from the car recorder. I hadn't listened to them all, but one stood out. Chris's voice, low and smug. "He really thinks you're going to that workshop? Laura, he's clueless. I almost feel bad. Almost. Chris, maybe you should invite him to the wedding. He can sit front row." They laughed. I didn't. I moved the clip into a new folder titled Final. I copied it to 2 flash drives, backed it up to cloud storage, and then slid one flash drive into a plain white envelope, along with a printed copy of the worst messages. I sealed it and wrote a name on the front. Max, her son. He was 15, old enough to start asking questions, old enough to see through lies. I didn't want to destroy his view of his mom, but he deserved the truth. Eventually, I didn't plan to give it to him yet, but I wanted it ready. Now came the tricky part. On Sunday night, I brought home takeout. Laura was in the kitchen, on her phone as usual. I placed the food on the table and said casually, "Hey, next Friday, I've got to head to Spokane. That new cabin remodel I told you about. Might be gone a couple days." She smiled without looking up. "Oh, okay, that's perfect. I'll be at that workshop all weekend." "Perfect," I echoed. We ate in silence, her scrolling through Instagram, me watching her from across the table like I was looking at a stranger's face superimposed onto my wife's. I waited until Tuesday. That's when I called Chris. Blocked number. Burner phone. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello?" I kept my voice even. "If she meant anything to you at all, you'd tell her not to get on that plane." Silence. "Who is this?" "The husband she thinks is too safe to do anything." He didn't hang up, didn't say a word. I waited 5 seconds and ended the call myself. I wasn't looking for a confrontation. Just planting a seed. On Wednesday, I called my lawyer. Not for divorce, yet. But for something else. Asset protection. Turns out Laura and I had a joint emergency savings account with just under $14,000. She rarely checked it. It was automatic deposits from both our paychecks. I had already moved my direct deposit to my personal account a week prior. My lawyer helped me draft a withdrawal request and transfer the funds to an escrow account tied to me only, citing financial infidelity and suspected marital fraud as the cause. It wasn't theft, it was caution. I gave her access to my heart, not to my savings. By Thursday night, everything was in place. Her flight was booked, her bag was packed, her excuses were airtight, her betrayal was ready to land in Denver like it was just another weekend away. And I had one last thing to do. I called Claire, the real Claire, her oldest friend, the one she claimed she'd be visiting next month. Claire was surprised to hear from me, even more surprised when I asked if she'd been in touch with Laura lately. "We haven't talked in weeks," she said. "Why?" "She's using you as a cover." And then I told her. Not everything, just enough. There was a long silence. Then Claire said quietly, "I always knew she wasn't done with him. But I didn't think she'd do this to you." Neither did I. Before we hung up, she added something I'll never forget. "Whatever you do next, don't let her play the victim." I won't. I can't. Because come Friday morning, she's walking straight into her little getaway fantasy. And I'll be walking straight into hers. With the curtain ready to drop. Friday morning, she was up before me, moving quietly around the bedroom, trying not to wake me. I peeked through cracked eyelids, watching her zip up her suitcase, slide on her boots, and check her hair in the mirror one last time. "I'll text you when I land," she whispered, like she was doing something sweet. "Love you." I didn't respond. She waited a second, maybe expecting me to murmur it back in my half-sleep. When I didn't, she leaned over, kissed my forehead, and left. I heard the front door shut. I sat up, no rage, no heartbreak. Just stillness. She was gone. And now, it was time. At exactly 10:13 a.m., I sent the email. Subject line: "For your awareness. Recipients: Chris's boss, the HR department of her school, and our shared financial advisor." Attachments: the audio clip, screenshots of texts, and the travel itinerary she used our joint account to book. I didn't write a dramatic explanation. Just one sentence. "This is a matter of concern involving inappropriate use of shared assets and professional misconduct that may impact your institutions." Why the financial advisor? Because she was using our shared account to fund her affair. He'd helped us plan for a home remodel. Now he'd help redirect everything under my name. Why her employer? Because she was using school-sponsored mental health training days to sneak away with her ex-husband. Why his employer? Because Chris was technically still married. Yeah, married. I found the records 2 days before. He never divorced his last wife. Laura knew, didn't care. She wasn't going on a romantic weekend. She was stepping into quicksand. Around 2:45 p.m., I drove to the airport. Not to stop her, to watch. I parked in the short-term lot, walked into the terminal, and waited in the food court just outside security. I had no bags, just a to-go coffee and my eyes on the terminal hallway. At 3:02 p.m., I saw her. Hair done, black coat, phone in hand, smile creeping across her face. She hadn't seen me yet. She walked right past me and toward Gate C, looking down at her screen. Probably texting him, probably excited, probably picturing how she'd come back Sunday night, tell me how emotionally transformative the retreat had been, and fall asleep next to me like she hadn't spent 2 nights wrapped around someone else. I followed, slowly. Watched her get in line. Watched her scan her boarding pass. And right when she handed her ID to the agent, her phone buzzed. She looked at it, then another buzz. Another. 3, 4, 5 notifications in a row. She turned away from the line, stepped out, tapped her screen. Her posture changed, like her spine collapsed a little. Her smile dropped. She scrolled, froze, looked around, and then she saw me. Across the terminal, leaning against a post. Coffee in hand, calm, still, her face flushed. Panic, confusion, a flicker of anger, all layered together. She started walking toward me, but slowly. Like a kid who knows they're about to be punished but is still trying to figure out how much you know. "Matt, what the hell is this?" She held up her phone. Probably the HR email. Or the screenshots. Didn't matter. I didn't move. "You know exactly what it is. You sent this to my school? And your boyfriend's job? And the people managing our money? Since you like sharing everything so much." Her mouth opened, then closed. Nothing came out. "You went through my phone?" I let out a quiet laugh. She still thought she could flip it. Make me the villain. You lied to me. For months. You had sex with your ex-husband. In hotels, in his house, maybe even in our bed. And you think the problem is that I read your messages? She looked around, realizing how loud our conversation was getting. She stepped closer and lowered her voice. You didn't have to blow up my whole life. That was the moment I leaned in. Close enough for only her to hear. You blew up mine the day you let him inside you again. I'm just showing you what the fallout looks like from the outside. Her eyes welled up, but no apology came. No denial, either. Just silence. That told me everything. We're done, I said, walking past her. And when you come home, don't. The locks will be changed. The joint accounts are frozen. Your things will be in boxes in the garage. You're not the storm. You're the wreckage. I didn't look back. I walked out of the terminal into the November air, cold wind cutting across my face like it was washing me clean. She thought I wouldn't fight back. She thought safe meant weak. She forgot what safety looks like when it snaps.